In today's video, we are going to look at a great game of chess played between Beth Harmon, the chess prodigy from the Queen's Gambit, and the current world chess champion, Magnus Carlsen. Beth Harmon is being played by her bot from chess.com, and Magnus Carlsen's moves are being simulated from the Play Magnus app. Let's see who wins. Magnus is playing as white, and Beth Harmon is playing with the black pieces. Magnus starts with d4, Beth responds with d5, and guess what Magnus plays here? He goes for the Queen's Gambit, pawn to c4. Beth declines the gambit and plays e6. Knight c3 from Magnus, developing the knight and attacking the center. Knight f6 defends it. Magnus takes, Beth recaptures. Then bishop g5, pinning the knight. Beth pushes c6, defending this pawn and opening the queen's diagonal. e3 from Magnus, preparing to bring out his bishop. Beth plays bishop f5, controlling this long open diagonal. Magnus goes for queen f3, attacking the bishop. The bishop enters white's territory. It can't do much alone apart from maybe preventing white from castling. A better move could have been to push it back to g6. Anyway, Magnus plays rook c1 and eventually Beth is forced to take it back. Now Magnus decides to give up his bishop pair. Bishop takes knight and black takes back with the queen. Then he decides to exchange the queens as well. Queen takes queen and pawn takes queen. Seems like a good exchange because at the end of this, black is left with these pawn weaknesses and they cannot support each other. So that's better for white. Alright, Magnus starts to push this pawn forward. Maybe he's planning to threaten this bishop on its next move. Beth locks it down by playing h5. Magnus plays knight h3 with the idea of getting it to f4 and then creating some attacks like this. Beth also develops her knight, planning to get it out this way and also preparing to castle on the queen side. Knight f4 by Magnus. Bishop d6 by Beth attacks the knight. g3 by Magnus supports both the knight and this pawn. Beth plays knight b6. Rook g1 by Magnus, placing it on this semi-open file. Bishop to f5 activates the bishop on this diagonal as well. Bishop d3, Magnus offers to exchange bishops. Beth accepts and Magnus takes back with the knight. Beth pushes f5. Magnus goes king d2, connecting his rooks and vacating the e file. Beth castles long. b3 by Magnus. Then king b8, tucking it into the corner. Knight e2, planning to get it out this way. Beth also shifts her knight back to this side. Knight f4 by Magnus. Now a6 by Beth. King e2 by Magnus. Then a5 by Beth. On her previous move, she could have straightaway played a5 instead of going a6 and then a5. Anyway, we see rook c2 by Magnus. He is planning to attack with both his rooks towards the black king. Bishop a3, Beth stops this pawn from advancing and also prevents Magnus from doubling up his rooks on the c file. Rook to b1, maybe we are going to see some pawn pushes now. Beth plays king a7. Not quite sure about this move. Maybe she was also thinking of getting her rook here, but somehow this exposes the king a little. Anyway, b4 by Magnus, trying to clear up the pawns and go after the king. Beth takes, Magnus takes back. Knight comes down to f6, trying to exploit these outposts. Knight d3, Magnus is shifting all his pieces towards the black king. Then Beth centralizes her knight. Magnus does the same with the threat of capturing this pawn and forking both the rooks. Beth moves the rook, she's allowing him to take this pawn. But Magnus has other ideas. He goes for a knight sacrifice. He takes this pawn, Beth captures the knight, and Magnus takes back with a check. The point is that Magnus exchanged the knight for two pawns. Plus, he also managed to clear up everything around the black king. So this is quite a good compensation for white. Now he can start to push the pedal. It's a check, so Beth pushes her king back. Rook b5 from Magnus, attacking this pawn and also threatening a fork on the next move. Beth decides to save her bishop. Magnus takes the pawn. King b7 by Beth, trying to get it out from here. Rook b5 check. King c8. Knight e5 is a discovered check again. Next move, knight f7 will be a fork like this. So Beth blocks the check with a bishop. Knight takes, rook h7. Magnus eliminates another pawn and supports his knight. Beth removes the pin by playing king b7. Magnus starts advancing his passed pawn. Beth plays knight d6, offering to exchange knights. That's not such a good idea, especially when you are down in material. Anyway, Magnus accepts. Beth recaptures. Magnus goes for rook b5 check. King a7. Magnus starts to advance his king. Then we see rook f8. She is trying to break through somehow. f4 by Magnus, solidifying his position. Rook g8, trying to attack this pawn now. Magnus blocks and offers to exchange rooks. Beth rejects for obvious reasons. Magnus is just continuing with his pawn pushes. Bishop c7, keeping a check on this pawn. Magnus is just slowly advancing his pawns and improving his position. Beth does not have much to play with, so she's just looking to defend. Magnus gives up this pawn. He is smartly keeping his king on the light colored squares to avoid any checks from this dark squared bishop. His focus is on pushing these three central pawns towards promotion. He offers a rook exchange again. This time, Beth accepts because this rook is way too powerful at the moment. And now this rook is threatening to come here with the idea to get this pawn promoted. So Beth directly goes after this pawn. He does not care about this because these two pawns are just unstoppable at the moment. And there we go. Magnus has a queen again. It's just a matter of time now. The bishop is gone. After this, we have a series of checks. And ultimately, rook b4 is the final move that delivers a checkmate. So Magnus managed to win this one. But what do you think? Is this a fair result? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so here's a chess puzzle for you all. It is White's turn and you need to find the best move continuation for White. Do share your answers in the comment section below. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out these other videos as well that are showing up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching and I shall see you in the next one.